The very first step when creating an EtherChannel bundle is to identify the ports that will be utilized on the switch. All of the Ethernet ports on our switches support EtherChannel. And it is important to realize that the interfaces you utilize do not have to be contiguous. So you don't have to use gigabit 01 and gig 02 and gig 03 and gig 04 to form a 4-port EtherChannel. You could use gig 01, gig 05, gig 07, gig 09 if you wanted to, and that would be perfectly acceptable. So they do not have to be contiguous ports. In addition to that, the ports do not have to be on the same module. So if you're using a modular Ethernet switch, you could choose a port on module 1 and another port on module 2 and another port on module 4 to be all part of the same EtherChannel bundle. So they don't have to be contiguous and they do not have to be on the same module. After you have chosen the interfaces, each interface is going to have to be configured to be part of a channel group. The channel group identifies which interfaces are part of the same EtherChannel bundle. And the channel group is represented with a number. So if we create channel group 1, every interface that we want to be part of the same EtherChannel bundle will have to be in group 1, or group 2, or group 5, whatever group number we are utilizing. In addition to that, we have to specify the mode that will be utilized for the EtherChannel bundle formation. So are we going to use a mode of on, which means we're not using any protocol at all? Is it going to be auto or desirable, indicating that we are using Cisco's proprietary EtherChannel bundle protocol, known as PAG-P? Or are we using the IEEE standard LACP, which we would use the modes of active or passive to specify on the interfaces? Once we've identified the channel group, a port channel interface is automatically created. And this is the logical interface that's going to represent all of the physical links that are part of the channel group. Now, if you created the port channel ahead of time by typing in interface port channel 1, that's perfectly acceptable. Because when you specify the channel group 1 command after, those interfaces just become represented by that port channel you already created. But if you forgot to create the port channel interface, or you chose not to, then when you identify the channel group number, the port channel is automatically created. So this port channel is going to be that logical interface that's representing all of these physical interfaces that are part of the EtherChannel bundle. And lastly, we always want to verify connectivity with various show commands and various tests in the real world before we move on. When we are configuring the EtherChannel bundle, we want to make sure that we are mindful of various parameters and features and the pickiness of EtherChannel. It's important to realize that all interfaces within an EtherChannel must have the same configuration. Now, we're not referring to the configuration of this has to be the exact same as this. No, that's not what we're referring to. We're referring to these two physical ports here. They must have certain parameters that are the exact same if we want a successful EtherChannel bundle to be formed. For example, speed and duplex must match between these two interfaces. So they both have to be either full or half, and they have to be running at the same speed. So 100 megabits per second, 1,000 megabits per second, and so on and so forth. If there is any mismatch between the speeds or duplexes of these interfaces, it would be classified as a link failure and the bundle will not successfully form. In addition, the ports either have to be all access ports or all trunk ports. It can't be a combination or a mixture of both. If so, the EtherChannel bundle fails to successfully establish in that case as well. Native VLANs, allowed VLANs on trunk ports have to be the same. So if the native VLAN is 99 on the trunk port for gigabit 0/23 and it's 9 on gigabit 0/24, that would be a native VLAN mismatch, and the EtherChannel bundle will not form with these two interfaces. Same thing with allowed VLANs. You have to make sure that the same VLANs are allowed and denied on both of these links, or it won't form. And if we're dealing with access ports, that's right, you don't have to form EtherChannel bundles over trunk links. You can form them over access links as well. And if you are forming them over access links, it's important that if this interface is part of VLAN 10, then this interface has to be part of VLAN 10, or the EtherChannel bundle won't form either. Once that port channel is created, you do not want to mess around with the physical interfaces. Anytime you make a change to the port channel, that change affects the interfaces as well. Meaning, if you set up a trunk port on the port channel, the physical interfaces become trunk ports as well. If you change the native VLAN on the port channel, the physical interface native VLAN changes as well. If you change the speed or the duplex, that changes as well. So anything you do to the port channel changes the physical interfaces, and that's okay. What's not okay is making changes to the physical interface itself. Because if you make a change to the physical interface, you type in interface, gigabit Ethernet 1/0/5, and you say switch port mode trunk, that only changes that interface. It doesn't change gigabit Ethernet 1/0/6, which may be part of the same bundle, and it doesn't change the port channel. So now we have a misconfiguration with our Ether channel, and as a result, we'll have a failure. It won't form. Or if it's already been formed, it'll be torn down because now we have a conflict. We have a misconfiguration in that case. So all of these items here are very important for you to remember in regards to Ether channel, because these are the big culprits for issues and troubleshooting with Ether channel bundles.